Huawei is something that's very dangerous. We cannot allow any other country to outcompete the United States in this powerful industry of the future.
We're not just going to deny a single company in China access to our semiconductor technology, we're going to deny the whole country.
What if I told you that the future of global telecommunications was shaped by a man who once couldn't afford to buy meat? That a company dismissed as a low-quality brand would go on to lead the 5G revolution? This isn't fiction. It's the story of Huawei and its founder, Ren Zhengfei. Ren Zhengfei was born on October 25, 1944, in Guizhou, China. He grew up with 6 siblings in a poor family. Despite his parents working as school teachers, they often struggled to meet basic needs. Life in rural China during the mid-20th century was tough. Ren's mother would forage for wild vegetables to feed the family. This left a lasting impression on young Ren, teaching him the value of hard work and resilience. As a teenager, Ren's family's financial situation worsened. Determined to escape poverty, he threw himself into his studies. The Chinese education system was competitive, but Ren's drive to succeed was fueled by his family's hardships. His parents always stressed the importance of education as a way to a better life. Ren's efforts paid off when he got into the Chongqing Institute of Electronics. This was a big deal given his background. At the institute, he studied engineering, laying the groundwork for his future in tech. Ren Zhengfei's life took a sharp turn. In 1968, at age 24, he joined the People's Liberation Army as an engineer. Swapping his civilian life for a uniform, he was sent to Anshan, Guizhou for a secret military project. The harsh conditions there were nothing like his previous life at the Chongqing Institute of Electronics. Ren and his team faced tough living conditions and swarms of mosquitoes while working on their critical mission, building facilities for military aircraft and engines. This work was part of China's efforts to boost its infrastructure during that time. Despite the challenges, Ren learned valuable lessons about teamwork and problem-solving under pressure. These skills would later shape how he ran Huawei. However, his career in the military didn't advance much, partly because of his family background. As Ren Zhengfei left the military, he dove into the uncertain world of business. In 1987, with just 21,000 yuan and a big idea, he gathered 5 friends in a rundown house in Shenzhen. Despite the humble setting, Ren had big plans. He wanted to start a company focusing on telephone switchboard technology, something new in China at the time. His friends weren't sure about it. They wondered if such a small venture could succeed, especially with so little money. Big foreign companies dominated the telecom industry, making the idea of a small Chinese startup seem unlikely to work. But Ren didn't give up. He insisted that the switchboard market had lots of room for growth. Ren's enthusiasm was infectious, and despite their initial doubts, his friends were swayed by his vision. They agreed to join him in this risky venture. Ren named the company Huawei, which means Chinese achievement in Mandarin. This choice of name reflected not just his personal ambitions, but also his desire to contribute to China's technological advancement. The early days were tough. To stay afloat, they even sold weight loss pills, far from the high-tech dreams Ren had talked about. This time tested Ren's determination and his team's loyalty. Many would have quit, but Ren's stubbornness kept them going. Ren made a key choice that would shape their future. He saw an opportunity in China's lack of domestic telecom production. Instead of just importing and reselling foreign tech, Ren insisted on making their own switching systems. This was risky and expensive, but it set the stage for future innovation. Ren's commitment to investing in research and technology was evident from the start. Despite the booming property market in Shenzhen at the time, which offered quick profits, Ren chose to pour Huawei's limited resources into technological development. This long-term vision, prioritizing innovation over short-term gains, became a defining characteristic of Huawei's corporate strategy. The decision to develop everything in-house became a crucial lesson. It shaped how the company operated, setting it apart from rivals who relied on foreign tech. This approach helped build a strong base of technical know-how that would prove vital later on. Ren Zhengfei made a bold move in the early 1990s. While others chased big city markets, He focused on China's often ignored rural areas. This meant Huawei had to completely rethink how they did business. Back then, rural China's phone systems were way behind. Most places didn't have reliable service, and what was there couldn't keep up with demand. Ren saw an opportunity and came up with a plan he called surrounding the cities from the rural areas. This let Huawei grow without going head-to-head with big foreign companies in the cities. By working in rural areas, they could develop their products and skills without as much competition. Huawei's engineers worked tirelessly to adapt their products to the harsh conditions often found in rural areas. They faced challenges such as unreliable power supplies, extreme weather conditions, and difficult terrain. These obstacles pushed the company to innovate and create robust, adaptable solutions that could withstand these demanding environments. One of their first big wins was the BH01 switch, made just for rural needs. Its success in these areas gave Huawei valuable experience and a good reputation for service. Huawei stood out by really focusing on customer service. They trained their installation teams to represent the company well and make sure their products worked right. This built trust with rural customers, many of whom were using modern phone systems for the first time. As Huawei got better at what they did, they started to gain more business in rural areas. People started to notice how reliable and innovative they were. This success in rural areas helped Huawei build a strong name for itself before moving into bigger city markets. While Huawei's rural strategy worked well, Ren Zhengfei knew the company needed more to compete globally. What bold move would turn Huawei from a regional player into a tech leader? Many doubted a Chinese company could compete with established foreign firms, but Ren pushed forward. He started recruiting from top universities like Huazhong University of Science. Ren even invited professors and students to visit, looking for talent to join Huawei. Huawei opened its first chip research center in Silicon Valley. This showed Huawei's ambition to develop cutting-edge tech and compete globally. By tapping into Silicon Valley's expertise, Huawei aimed to speed up its progress. The company's focus on developing its own switching systems and later, mobile technology, laid the groundwork for future breakthroughs. In 1990, Huawei produced the BH03, a significant milestone as all circuit boards, including the chips, were manufactured in-house. This achievement marked Huawei's growing technological independence and capabilities. Ren's approach to employee ownership played a crucial role in attracting and retaining top talent. With over 98% of shares held by staff, Huawei fostered a culture of shared success and innovation. This unique model motivated employees to contribute their best efforts to the company's technological advancement. In 1997, Huawei's success with digital switches set the stage for its global plans. As China's telecom market got crowded, Ren Zhengfei looked overseas. Hong Kong became Huawei's first stop outside mainland China. Hong Kong's telecom market was tough. Big names like Hong Kong Telecom and Siemens were already there. It was nothing like the rural Chinese markets Huawei knew. People doubted if Huawei's products were any good. Local businesses were used to working with famous brands and weren't sure about this new Chinese company. However, a stroke of geopolitical fortune reshaped the playing field. The handover of Hong Kong to China in 1997 brought unexpected benefits for Huawei. The elimination of tariffs that had previously applied to mainland Chinese companies suddenly made Huawei's products more price competitive against foreign brands. This leveling of the economic landscape provided Huawei with a crucial opening to establish its presence in the market. Seizing this opportunity, Huawei secured its first contract with a local Hong Kong company. The company shipped its first switch to Hong Kong, eager to prove its capabilities. However, the initial installation did not go smoothly. Upon startup, the product encountered numerous technical issues, threatening to confirm the doubts about Huawei's quality and reliability. This was make or break time. Huawei's engineers worked day and night to fix the issues and meet deadlines. Their hard work impressed the local partners, who started to change their minds about Huawei. All that effort paid off. Huawei fixed the problems and even got a telecom license in Hong Kong. This was a big deal. It showed Huawei could compete in a high-tech market against big international companies. While most companies run from economic crises, Huawei charged straight into them. In 1998, as Russia's economy fell apart, Ren Zhengfei made a risky call that could make or break Huawei. The Russian financial crisis of 1998 hit the country's telecom industry hard. As other companies pulled back, Ren Zhengfei sent Huawei's best people to Russia, stressing how important it was to get a foot in the door in this chaotic market. Huawei faced big problems in Russia. Many Russians didn't trust Chinese products, thinking they were cheap and low quality. This made it tough for Huawei to break into the market. To get around these issues, Huawei sold its products with small profit margins, focusing on getting established rather than making quick money. They also hired former Soviet tech experts who had lost their jobs when the USSR fell. These skilled workers knew Russian infrastructure inside and out, which was a huge help. In 2000, Vladimir Putin became Russia's president, bringing more economic stability. This was good for Huawei, as more money started flowing into telecom infrastructure. Huawei's work in Russia started paying off. By understanding what Russians needed and offering good products at competitive prices, they began winning over customers. They even got government contracts, cementing their place in the market. By 2001, just 3 years after entering the tumultuous Russian market, Huawei's revenue in the country exceeded $300 million. This figure marked a significant triumph for the company, validating Ren Zhengfei's bold decision to invest in Russia during its economic crisis. The success in Russia not only boosted Huawei's financial standing, but also provided valuable experience in navigating complex international markets. After conquering the Russian market, Huawei set its sight on an even greater challenge: Europe. The European telecommunications market was highly developed, with established players and stringent regulations. Huawei faced significant skepticism about Chinese technology, making it difficult to gain a foothold in this competitive landscape. Huawei started small, focusing on smaller European operators. They offered good products at competitive prices to build trust. This let them grow slowly without directly challenging giants like Ericsson and Nokia. A big win came in the Netherlands with Telfort, a smaller operator. Huawei's base station solution solved a common problem: upgrading networks without replacing everything. This saved operators a lot of money, cutting installation costs by about a third. Huawei's quick problem-solving and great customer service impressed European clients. Their engineers worked hard to fix issues and adapt to local needs. This helped Huawei overcome doubts and build trust. As Huawei's reputation grew, they started competing with the big names. Success in Europe's demanding market showed Huawei could compete globally. Huawei's European strategy was similar to what they did in China: start small, then tackle bigger markets. This careful approach lets them improve their products and build a solid reputation before taking on larger competitors. Joining events like the Hanover Computer Expo in Germany boosted Huawei's profile. As Huawei celebrated its European success, a daring plan was already in motion. In 1993, nearly a decade before launching its first US product, the company quietly established a presence in the heart of American innovation. By establishing a chip research center in Silicon Valley, Huawei tapped into the area's talent pool and cutting-edge technology. In June 2002, the company's strategy was simple: offer products that worked just as well as the competition's, but at better prices. This approach worked wonders, with Huawei experiencing a 70% growth in the US market. Huawei's quick success and growing presence in the US telecom sector soon caught the eye of industry giants like Cisco. Huawei's marketing tactics only added fuel to the fire. In a gutsy move, Huawei ran an ad featuring Cisco's logo and a statement comparing the two companies. This bold campaign directly challenged Cisco's dominance and showed that Huawei was ready to compete. While it got people talking, it also ruffled some feathers among American competitors. Huawei's rapid growth and bold marketing led to some legal trouble. In January 2003, Cisco, the top networking company, sued Huawei in Texas federal court. The lawsuit claimed 21 instances of intellectual property theft, threatening Huawei's US expansion plans. Huawei's founder, Ren Zhengfei, surprised many with his calm response, jokingly calling the lawsuit Cisco's Chinese New Year gift to Huawei. This set the tone for how Huawei would handle the legal fight. Huawei quickly put together a strong legal team and looked into its own operations to prepare for the case. The company also worked on its public image, showing its lawyers around its research facilities to prove its tech skills. In a smart move, Huawei teamed up with 3Com, Cisco's main rival. This partnership led 3Com's CEO to publicly support Huawei, which might have weakened Cisco's case. The Huawei-Cisco lawsuit highlighted the rivalry between US and Chinese tech companies and raised questions about intellectual property in global business. As the case went on, both sides negotiated. In the end, Huawei agreed to change some of its router software code, but this didn't really hurt Huawei's position in the US market. The end of the Cisco lawsuit was a big moment for Huawei. It showed the company could handle tough international business challenges. In 2011, Huawei jumped into the smartphone market, going up against big names like Apple and Samsung. Even though Huawei was doing well with network equipment, it had a tough start with smartphones. Their first launch in 2012 only sold 500,000 units worldwide, which led to a lot of doubt about whether they could make it in the high-end smartphone world. But Huawei didn't give up. They focused on coming up with new ideas to stand out. One of their big moves was creating their own Kirin chips, which became a key part of their phone technology. Things started looking up in 2014 with the Mate 7. This phone had a fingerprint sensor on the back, which was pretty new at the time. The Mate 7 did well, selling 7 million units and getting good reviews. After the Mate 7's success, people started to notice Huawei's phones for their quality and new features. The company kept improving things like cameras, battery life, and overall performance. With each new model, Huawei's phones became serious options compared to the market leaders. Huawei's rise was quick. By 2018, just 7 years after starting, they became the second biggest smartphone maker in the world, even passing Apple. This showed Huawei could innovate, adapt, and prove doubters wrong. While Huawei was taking over the smartphone market, it was also working on something big behind the scenes. The company saw early on that 5G technology would be huge and decided to invest a lot in developing it. This smart move would help Huawei become a leader in the next generation of wireless communication. Huawei put a lot of resources into 5G research. They had teams of experts working at 26 research centers around the world. The company deployed over 700 mathematicians, 800 physicists, and 120 chemists. This diverse team of experts worked tirelessly to solve the complex challenges associated with 5G technology development. By investing in 5G for so long, Huawei got a big head start in the global telecom market. While other companies were trying to catch up, Huawei was ready to lead the way in 5G. Despite Huawei's tech success, trouble was brewing. As the company excelled in 5G, Western governments grew suspicious. This would shake up global tech relations and force Huawei to deal with tricky politics. In 2012, the US House Intelligence Committee hurt Huawei's image by calling it a national security threat. They worried Huawei's equipment might have backdoors for Chinese government spying. This scared Western countries and cast doubt on Huawei's global plans. Huawei always denied these claims, saying it was independent from the Chinese government. The company insisted it was employee-owned and not controlled by the state. But Western governments didn't buy it and remained doubtful about Huawei's true loyalties.
Authorities arrested Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou at the request of the U.S. She is charged with bank and wire fraud for allegedly violating American sanctions on Iran. Reports, though...
Things got worse in 2018. Meng Wanzhou, the company's chief financial officer and daughter of founder Ren Zhengfei, was detained in Canada at the behest of the United States, setting off a diplomatic firestorm. The arrest was rooted in allegations related to violations of US sanctions against Iran, a move that many viewed as an extension of the broader technological competition between the US and China. The US, concerned about China's technological advancements, particularly in 5G, sought to contain Huawei's global expansion. The arrest was seen not just as a legal maneuver, but as a strategic move to undermine China's technological leadership. The saga of Meng Wanzhou's detention and eventual release in September 2021 was a complex dance of diplomacy, law, and geopolitics. China's growing economic and diplomatic influence played a crucial role in securing her release, as did the global pressure on the US to adhere to international legal standards. These problems forced Huawei to change its global strategy. They looked for new markets and diversified their business to cope with Western restrictions. Huawei focused more on growing markets in Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America, where they could use their tech skills and competitive prices. In May 2019, the US government put Huawei on its entity list, stopping American companies from working with the Chinese tech giant. This hit Huawei hard, especially its smartphone business. The biggest problem was when Google took away Huawei's Android license. This meant new Huawei phones couldn't have Google apps like Gmail, Maps, and the Play Store. For a company that was the world's second biggest smartphone maker, this was a huge setback, particularly in Western markets where people rely on Google services. This ban forced Huawei to rethink its whole strategy. The company had to find ways to work without US technology, which wasn't easy. For Huawei, it was both a problem and a chance to become independent from US tech. In the face of adversity, Huawei unveiled its ambitious response to technological independence. Harmony OS, officially launched in June 2021, represented Huawei's proprietary operating system designed to break free from reliance on US technology. This new OS was not just another smartphone platform, it embodied Huawei's vision for a fully interconnected future. Harmony OS stood out because it could run on many different devices, not just phones and tablets like iOS or Android. It aimed to connect everything from smartphones to refrigerators in one smooth system. By creating Harmony OS, Huawei proved its ability to innovate under pressure. The company poured resources into developing a system that could compete with established ones, showing off China's push for tech self-reliance. But Huawei faced big hurdles too. Building a whole new ecosystem with enough apps to rival other platforms was tough. The company worked hard to get developers on board, offering help and incentives to create a solid app selection. As Harmony OS grows, it's becoming more than just Huawei's answer to political problems. It could shake up the tech world, challenging US dominance in operating systems and bringing more variety to the market. As Harmony OS was taking shape, Huawei faced a new crisis that hit its hardware capabilities hard. In 2020, the US government cut off Huawei's access to advanced semiconductors made with American technology. This was a big blow to Huawei's smartphone and 5G equipment businesses, which relied heavily on these high-tech chips. The sanctions broke a crucial link in Huawei's supply chain, forcing the company to scramble for alternatives. Huawei's response was multifaceted. They started stockpiling chips, expecting supply problems. This helped them keep making devices for a while, but it wasn't a long-term fix. Huawei knew they needed lasting solutions. They poured money into research and development, aiming to create advanced semiconductor tech without US involvement. They also went on a hiring spree, bringing in top semiconductor experts from around the world to boost their in-house skills. This chip problem showed just how complex and global the semiconductor supply chain is. Making advanced chips needs a whole ecosystem of design tools, manufacturing equipment, and specialized knowledge built up over decades. Even for a company as big and determined as Huawei, achieving independence in this field was a huge challenge. Huawei's struggle became a symbol of the wider US-China tech rivalry. It highlighted the growing tension between the two countries and the race for tech supremacy. It also sparked debates about whether it's possible or even desirable for companies to be completely self-sufficient in such a global industry.
What happens to Huawei will affect the Chinese economy, will it not? Maybe not now, but if your business continues to decline, your revenue is more than that of Alibaba and Tencent combined.
This issue is a test for us. If we weather the storm, then we will get stronger. So what doesn't kill you will get you stronger. In China, we say the phoenix will rise from the fire, and the bird that doesn't get killed by the fire is a phoenix. And we believe this big fire will address this issue at our hand, and we can get stronger during this process.
Just as the tech world thought Huawei was struggling, the company surprised everyone with the Mate 60 Pro smartphone in August 2023. This phone challenged what we thought about US sanctions on Chinese tech. It had a 7nm chip, which many experts didn't think China could make under the current restrictions. The Mate 60 Pro showed Huawei's tech progress despite US sanctions. It matched top global smartphones in many ways, including satellite communication, a feature usually only found in the most advanced phones. This launch sparked new debates about how effective US export controls on China really are. People wondered how Huawei made such an advanced chip despite the restrictions. It showed how complex global supply chains are and how hard it is to control tech in our connected world. The phone was a big hit in China. People lined up outside Huawei stores to buy it, showing the company still has a strong brand at home, even after facing problems internationally. For Huawei, the Mate 60 Pro was a turning point. After struggling to get advanced chips, they proved they could still make cutting-edge phones. This boosted the company's spirits and showed competitors that Huawei was still a serious player in the global tech industry. The phone became a symbol of China's tech goals and toughness. Huawei's rise from a small Chinese startup to a global tech leader shows how the technology world has changed. Its story demonstrates the challenges of balancing international cooperation with national interests in tech development. The future of the tech industry will shape not only companies, but also global relationships and economic systems.
年轻人要持续不懈的努力，不要认为自己很聪明，今天搞这样，明天搞那样，可能青春荒废了，可能扎扎实实认定只做一件事情，他能很成功。年轻人啊，能力是有限的，不要把自己认为是全能全才，在很广的领域消耗到太多的资源，这样就不容易在前沿。